Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. To all the haters, the debaters, the creators, we win again. Woo! Just like the Bee Gees sang, baby. Let's rock and roll, Squaddies.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
To all the gooners in the universe, let me show you something. This was the thumbnail before the game because I was hoping and praying Kai would have one of those matches, and Saliba, of course, you know, he's just cool in that picture. But this ended up being the thumbnail, and I'm so happy to be using Trossard as an image for a thumbnail today. And we're going to get stuck into Big Gabby, and here to help me, Squaddies, is Mr. James Johnston. Bosh! Woo!
Oh, God. What a difference a few days can make.
You can't kick me down tonight.
No.
You can't bring the negativity tonight.
Yeah.
It is a I'm Supersonic Sophie tonight. It is North London derby. I've had Tony on edge for about 90 minutes plus. Vinny and Vesper, I gave them a chew just so they could calm down and be chill during the match. I didn't sit down once. For me tonight, James Johnston, it was all about result versus performance. But we also got a little bit of a tiny performance, especially from a couple players. What say you, son?
Oh, I'm in agreement. Yeah, I mean, we come into it. I work with a lot of Spurs fans. Obviously, where I live, there's a lot of them there, unfortunately. They all were giving it the big one today. You're on your knees. We're going to come there. We're going to do this. We're going to do. I went, you're not. You never have. I said, I've been alive 33 years. You never have. And I went to him, look, my heart's telling me we're going to beat you 2-1, but my head's telling me it's going to be 1-1. So I should have gone with my heart instead of my head.
All right.
But yeah, brilliant.
Well, hold on to some of those thoughts while we welcome Squaddies at ease, at ease. I lose my manners, and rightly so. In a time where you win a North London derby, listen to our Tammy Steels, our Chief Like Officer, hit that like button. For all of those of you joining from around the world, Runs with Cows says, thank you, Losartan Potassium. I'd be dead without you. And then he says, you know, and we're going to get to Gabi. We're going to get to Skelly. And Harvey, yes, we'll get to that eventually, but screw England right now. It's all about the Arsenal. 3:30 a.m. for Aditya, but let's effing go, Squaddies. Come on, Soph. Absolutely brilliant. Let's see who else is in the house. Gooner Works is in the house. Everything brilliant, barring the finish. In the North London derby, points are points. Absolutely. Crucial 3 points. Galispera PW de Ganes el peso galanaise. Woo! Enjoy this. I'll tell you something. I'm so jazzed for tonight. You might want to put your volume at a little bit of a low. Please buy forward. Stop. Not tonight. We're not doing this tonight. What can you say about Big Gabby? ZZ Top in the house. Yeah, we love that.
I'll put that on the list. I'll add that to the list.
Getting the love from the Chief Like Officer too. Priska, good evening to you as well. AFC Max is in the house as well. Boom! Lacking Saka. Some of these guys. It's so good, isn't it? I love it. If we knew how to shoot, we'd won it by 5 or 6. We still won it. That's the point. Cliff. Hello. Tony says, I didn't care how we got it done as long as we beat those spuds. Well done to the team. Hopefully we're ready after the standing 8 count. We have a gem with Skelly. Kevin, good evening to you as well. Ian, yeah, James Johnston's in the house. Gabriel's our player of the season. I'm gonna go into one on that in a minute. Okay. So many of you. Okay, here we go. Let's start talking, shall we? James, I'm going to start with the tippy top before we get to all the waxing lyrical stuff and any criticisms you may have, although you've got to be careful of that. Starting 11, I thought I was fine with it. I didn't mind, Trossard for Martinelli. I certainly didn't mind Sterling being given a chance. I saw him getting a lot of criticism. And I actually thought to myself, you know what? End product, not great, but it wasn't as bad as people are making out. In that early 5 minutes, you and I were WhatsApping saying he didn't continue his run. He didn't get stuck into the tackle. I thought there were times where he and Havertz looked a little bit like Laurel and Hardy. Fine. But I didn't mind the starting 11. Did you have any qualms about the starting 11, mate?
No, I thought it would be one of the two out of Martinelli and Trossard. I knew that he'd start Sterling because pretty much what else do you have left? We are at such the bare bones that I thought to myself, what else is he going to do? So yeah, it was pretty obvious what he was going to pick. But yeah, no, I had no qualms about it, and like I said, I still believed that regardless of the 11 that you've put out there, you've got, they knew they had to get the result today after what happened at the weekend. And they went and got it done. Like you said, performance-wise, yeah, we could probably pick it apart and be at it for bits, but it was all about the result tonight. And we got it done. So at the end of the day, I'm going to park the negativity to one door. And,
are you taking Kay Marlon's advice here? Because I wanted to put Kay's comment up.
Yeah.
If there's a game that brings us together, this is the one. I love it. And exactly. Jonathan, the lads gave everything today. And I know that 9:04 a.m. in Sydney, Australia. Big up, Gabi. Gabi, let's go. Let's king go Soph. What an evening. Forever in our shadow. When you are playing, I put up a tweet at the beginning of the game, and I said, I don't care about performance. I just want the result tonight. And yes, I'm so happy so many of you Squaddies has come in here positive tonight. North London is red. Happy Derby Day, Squaddies. How good is MLS? Gabriel is our player of the season. That's a game that matters. So many of you commenting positively. Give Gabriel co-captain. North London is always red. Come on, you Gunners. MLS is class. Right, before we get to MLS, okay, because me and James are going to wax lyrical for quite a bit on that. I know, do you know what? I really wanted Kai Havertz to score tonight, and I wanted him to have a bounce back game. But can we talk just a little bit, James, about the fact that this guy never hides, never, ever ducks out of a challenge, puts himself about, does the dirty work, does all the things Mikel Arteta asks him to do. And I thought tonight, his kind of dirty cop work, like a scene from Starsky and Hutch, where their undercover cop is being told to do something that maybe they don't really want to do, but they do it because the boss is asking them to do it. I thought tonight, after everything that he's been through over the last few days, I'm going to give Kai Havertz a tip of my hat, because he may not have scored and he may have fumbled a couple of times, but my goodness, he never shied away from the game.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And do you know what? There was a moment there in the second half where I saw some people lambast him, not like harshly, but I did somewhat agree in that he laid it on to Sterling because he wanted Sterling to have you could see that he wanted to give Sterling a moment instead of, and that's where I'm like, you could have, that's where I see the calls for somebody different up top, because the selfish player makes that 3-1 and makes it all about him. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that he tried to do something for his teammate, especially in Sterling, who, let's be fair, out of everyone in that team that probably needs a goal right now, next to Kai Havertz, he's that guy. But yeah, no, he will always put himself about. He's always. I can get stats and metrics of pretty much nearly everything, but I can never get distance covered. But I bet you if there is somewhere that does it, him and Odegaard and Rice are always going to be in that top three. I mean, he's 6'4", so what? One of my steps is probably 3 or 4 of Havertz's steps. He probably chews that ground up very, very quick, being a 6'4" man. But yeah, no, he's he's going to bounce back. You know he is. Is he going to be? That's the thing. We know he's not clinical, but he's still going to score us important goals when we need them, Sophie. So yeah, and obviously what happened to him at the weekend, absolutely disgusting. And you know what? I'll be as loud in my praise as I am in my criticism. I thought Mikel Arteta handled that perfectly yesterday.
Yeah,
I thought that was one of the best. I think that's one of the best moments I've seen of him, man management wise, and just talking in general since he's actually been manager. I thought he smashed that yesterday.
That's what I said to Rebecca Lowe on the show yesterday. I played her the video and I said, this is one of Mikel's finest moments in a press conference. Thibaut gets it. Without Havertz, there's no pressing, no final third recovery, no hold-up play. Totally agree. Jonathan says Declan is a monster, elite off the ball. MLS should be our first choice left back from now on, says Reese.
He already is. He
already is. Kai needs to stop. I don't think he was sulking, Harvey. I don't think he was sulking at all. Rich is in Thailand. It's 5:10 in the morning there. Havertz can run around and work really hard, but to win titles, you need clinical finishers. He did what he had to do today, and other people scored, just like last season. Sorry. That's just how it is. We know we need a striker, but Havertz is still important to this team, and right now we need him. Shattered after 70 minutes, but you know what? Woof. Mark says, come on, getting new gunners. Kurt, MLS. The love for MLS is vast tonight. Patrick says, Havertz is getting Xhaka-esque yellows now. Referee treating him by reputation. That's because he's our dark artist. He's just a little bit better at it than Xhaka. Doesn't get so obviously sent off. Kai was so bad. I'm not having that tonight, Gunners for Life. I am not having it. If you're here for a Kai Havertz bitch fest, tune out, because it ain't happening. Each player tonight, okay, some may have been at their game and not at their game. Some may have played a different game. When you're playing a North London derby, form goes out the window. We needed a result tonight. It was less about performance. But I will not have it just because Kai Havertz isn't your sexy number 9, Isaac or Haaland style. The boy works hard. He's our top scorer, by the way, this season. 7 in the Premier League, 12 in all competitions. Was one of our best players January to May last season. And maybe he'll find his form going forward with more goals so far. But I am not having any Kai hate tonight. It's not happening. In fact, I'm not having any of it tonight. So buck up your ideas, all right? And let's get constructive. James, let's talk about the big elephant in the beautiful Jungle Book room, Miles Lewis-Skelly, right? Let's get super positive here. By the way, did you like this, the beginning of the show?
Yeah, I knew that I saw something earlier on the Twitter sphere that they were going to do something for him. So yeah, I mean that's all well and good. I saw Liverpool wear shirts before to support someone that made a racist comment. So people that are digging us out, calling us cringe for this, it's no more cringe than them backing Suarez when he said what he said to Evra. So I think it's nice. I'm like,
exactly.
just sometimes it's nice to be nice.
Yeah.
And that's coming from me. I'm a miserable bastard. So
you miserable git.
Yeah, I know I am.
Okay, so hold on. I'm going to make them wait a little bit longer. The game started off, Tottenham have scored the most goals in the opening 15 minutes of a Premier League game, and Arsenal have conceded the most goals in the opening 15 minutes of a game. Although our record against them at the Emirates has been sublime. They've only won 2 in 32. Last time they won was in 2010. Do you remember that car ball header? Oh, it was a dagger to the heart. But let's face it. 13th place Tottenham, 3rd place Arsenal. Now we're 2nd. If we couldn't beat this team, I think the sky would be falling, and then the narrative tonight would be a lot different. They go a goal up, deflected goal. However, the way we allowed them to run along that flank, James, not great. Son scores. And at that point, our WhatsApp messages kind of froze for a long time.
Yeah, no, look, I know earlier you said that you didn't want to necessarily dig anybody out. If I can just slight critique tonight.
You can.
There was an instance with Thomas Partey. Now, I know that his tackle helped set up that second goal, But there were parts there with him where I was just like, this is why the Zubimendi thing's happening. I'm like, your legs are shot. Your legs are complete. And do you know what? This season, he's been arguably our best midfielder. But I said there will come a time, just like every season we've seen with Thomas Partey, where his legs are going to give up on him. And I'm like, January, here it comes. Yeah, I just think tonight he had a head start on Saliba at closing down Son, and yet Saliba still got past him. I'm like, oh man. I was just like, this is typical. We've been absolutely peppering them as best we can, can't convert it as per, and they have what, one shot deflection, and then it goes. I'm like, oh, I just thought, here it comes all over again. But no, we got out. Like we said, we got to have it in the end.
Yeah, I've upset Omar Guna here. Our opinion doesn't matter. It's only Soph's opinion that matters. Sorry, but okay. All right. If you are a regular listener of this show, we don't do super chats. I don't even do ads for most of the time. There's no ads on the show tonight. I'm not looking for anything other than a community to talk about football. All I'm saying is I don't accept any Kai Havertz hate tonight or scapegoating. If you have a problem with that, Omar Guna, you can leave. I'd rather you stayed and we talked about it in a constructive way. I don't force my opinion on anybody. I embrace everybody's opinions. If I'm choosing to, on this night after a North London derby, to credit a player for doing things that were a little bit dirty and not overtly pizzazzy, and recognize how he worked in the shadows to help the team, that's my opinion. So I'm not attacking yours. I'm just saying I'm not accepting any hate. But you've come at me suggesting that I'm trying to enforce my opinion on you, and that is absolutely not the case. So you can stay if you want, or you can go. The choice is yours. Right. Let's talk about the equalizer. Some of those looping crosses, which seems to be a new... I was talking about it with Rebecca on the post-game show against Manchester United. Those corners weren't really working for us in the FA Cup, James. But Rice's delivery tonight a lot better. And if there's one player that deserves all of the love, Big Gabi is the real Jesus of the Arsenal. This player is up there on a pedestal this season for me. What a guy. Big Gabi, make him a gunner for life. I freaking love this guy. James.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is it the, now I'll freely admit my history isn't as good as, it's not one of my specialist subjects. A few of you might say football's not one of my specialist subjects either, but there we go. I believe the largest monument in London is the monument to the Great Fire of London, is it not?
Yes.
I think it needs to change. I think the biggest monument in London is Gabi. He is just huge for us, isn't he? This season, I know he's gone up a level. He's just absolutely massive. Massive in the box, massive in defence, massive as a leader. Just everything he does is just massive. And I know it's gone down as an own goal tonight, but whenever that crosses come in from them set pieces, he is attacking the ball. You know, like what we just said about Sterling. He didn't attack the ball. You know, North London derby, make yourself a hero. You've got to go in for that, Sterling. He didn't do it. Gabi's like, hold my beer, I'll do that. You know, here I go. And yeah, just fantastic. He's such an important player. And he definitely is in the running for one of our best players of the season. I know last year he got a lot of people's unsung hero of the season, but he's got a song now that's being sung all the time, and he deserves it because what a brilliant player.
Yeah, he was great. And that tackle, James.
Oh, yeah.
What? You know, Gabi 2 seasons ago was conceding a penalty there. You know, and we've seen it, right? His timing. And I said on the show, I've said, like, I know everyone loves Saliba, and Saliba is world class, and he's an amazingly beautiful player. But this season, Gabi is better in all facets of the game. than Saliba. Not only is he a great tackler, not only does he pass the ball better than he ever has done, he gets on the end of set pieces. Saliba doesn't really score from set pieces. Even those kind of mini wonder goals we've seen from Saliba haven't been happening. Big Gabi is the gospel. He is the man. And I remember last season, everyone would be like, oh, if we lose Saliba, look, if we lose either one of them, it's grave. But my goodness, Gabi stays in the game in a season where I feel like we've lacked passion, we've lacked intimidation, we've lacked confidence. He's the one player that has been bringing it week in, week out. He's absolutely amazing, totally superb, and I think he deserves his flowers.
It's just, you're so blessed that you've got a player that's just immense in both boxes. Like it's such a key factor, especially for this team at the moment, where we look somewhat toothless in terms of scoring. Like, don't get me wrong, the set pieces are a facet of the game which we are, executing to a brilliant level. But would I rather we score goals in open play as well than do this? Of course I would.
Yeah.
Of course I would. But you got to take what you get given. And luckily he rose up, got a deflection, 1-1 in a moment when we needed it. And that's what he's been doing all season. Big moments, big time, big goals.
Yeah, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. Okay, he is a rock. Well said, K Marlon. I mean, Omar Gunnar. This is the other thing too. No one's saying that Kai is like the Don of all Dons. We're just saying that today he played a game and it had to be a little dirty, and he did his job. All right, so let's just leave it at that. I mean, when he came on, part of me was like, oh God, I hope he doesn't get to do that chicken duck thing. I was like, I can't stand that guy. Jesus Christ. My boy from down under, Georgie George, welcome to Squad Central. Yirki says, Gabriel's been consistent and solid. We scored a brilliant goal from open play. Yes, Tierney's so lively. He's done quite well when he's come on. Absolutely. He really has.
3 games in a row, he's put a ball in the box. No one's been there.
Yeah.
The Newcastle United, and
that was
tonight,
glaring, that one. Yeah.
I'm like, as much as he's going to go and he needs to go for himself, there is no other fullback in our team that puts those kinds of passes in. Not even from the right hand side. And I love Timber, but he hasn't got that crossing ability that Tierney has. So
exactly. All right. And then literally, so I'm going to be honest here. Not been feeling tip top today. So I text James and we scored, we equalized. And then, of course, Trossard, which we've all been saying, all of us, just shoot the ball. Just shoot the ball, take a chance. Anything can happen, especially against a goalkeeper that might not be showing, their best. And he shot the ball. There was a little bounce, a little dink, and the Tottenham goalkeeper made the total hash out of it. And I was on the loo for both goals. So I text James and I said, probably shouldn't be saying this out loud, but I was on the bog for the both goals. Should I stay there? And I also sent it to my girls in my WhatsApp group, and everyone basically told me that I need to stay there and I can't move for the first half. So luckily for me, it was a first half thing. But James, TMI aside, it was a really good tackle from Thomas Partey. It was a quick pass from Martin Odegaard. Bosh. Trossard gets on the end of it and goes old school last season Leo and bangs in the goal.
And it was a really, really nice finish from him. Something that we've needed for a long time. I mean, there's been games this season, especially after the Aston Villa incident, where he's clearly been upset and unhappy because he believes that he should be a starter. For me, recently, every time he has started, he hasn't warranted being a starter. I feel there's clearly something wrong there, and there's instances coming into it that are a bit like, you know, he left Genk to go to Brighton in a huff. He left Brighton to come to us in a huff, and I was thinking, oh, is this him now having his Arsenal huff to get a move? But when he scored tonight, he scored a great goal. He celebrated it, and I was really happy, because at the moment we all know we need additions. And I know you said you're not going to get into that, so I will leave it there. But we all know we need to sign people.
No, you can. No, absolutely. There's no hiding. There's no hiding from that, James.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, I'm like, based on what is there at the moment, we need everybody to be pulling some kind of numbers, whether that's goals or assists. We need to get that done. And I was pleased that if that can kick him on to get back to the level that he was 2 seasons ago, and even at times last season, brilliant. Because that's the Trossard that we need. Not this one that I've seen this season that at times for me feels like he's playing for himself. I thought he was a team player today more than
that's a great point,
an
James.
individual player. Yeah,
that's a really great point. I felt that way too. I thought this was the best team performance this season, and also I felt like it was old school. I don't say old school. Last season, Arsenal overcoming adversity, sticking with the plan, not capitulating, believing. This is the first game I've seen, other than Manchester City and Liverpool in the first half. This is the game where I saw these players believe in each other and believe in themselves and what they were doing. And I thought that was absolutely immense. And I think that Arsenal are a team of emotion and cause. And Mikel said that as well before, right? So whether you're wearing a shirt for Gabi at the beginning, whether you're fighting for Kai and the abuse he's got in the week, they were playing with a point to prove tonight. And I've no doubt that Mikel pinned some shit up on the board in the dressing room before the game. And it felt that way. It felt like last season Arsenal. It felt like 22-23 Arsenal, where we were playing with intent and we were playing with passion. And Arsenal fans were crying out for that. And I think tonight that we got that in abundance and more. Newman calling out for no negativity tonight. I'd never know if he's being sarcastic. Mark telling Omar to hit the like button on the way out. Georgie George saying it's not over till the fat lady sings or the fat referee blows the whistle in May. Absolutely, we're still in this. Oh dear. Okay. Listen, Omar is welcome. Omar, don't go. Just stay. You know, just don't be a hater. All right. We are getting real. We beat Tottenham in a North London derby. That's it. I'm not going to focus on you anymore. 250 of you in live chat. Hit the like button. Let's get to some beautiful stuff. Let's just spend time talking about how this young man, I didn't have it on my bingo card for Miles Lewis-Skelly to be the guy before Waneri. I'm not sure if I had it on my bingo card to think that there are Haylenders out there that would be up to the quality or match Saka. We've seen this movie before. We've hoped that Nketiah was that guy. We've hoped Reece Nelson was that guy. We hoped that Emile Smith-Rowe would be that guy. But Saka reached such heights that it was almost impossible to measure any other player because Saka has been so good. Listen, not only is this kid good, his shithousery, his physicality is undeniably brilliant. I love everything about him. How can you get nervous when an 18-year-old is being taken off and being replaced by a perennial trophy winner? But James, you have the floor to talk about Miles Lewis-Skelly, and Squaddies, you have the chat room to just go off on Miles Lewis-Skelly. What a joy. The story of the season so far for me at the Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you seen it this season where there's been injuries and people have come in and none of them have grabbed the shirt? This guy has gone, right, Calafiori's the shiny new toy, don't care. Zinchenko, don't care. Tierney, even though you've been fit, don't care. He's been fantastic, and he is our first choice left back now for Arsenal. He's just brilliant. Just in nearly every facet of the game, the guy is absolutely brilliant. If he can text on a walkie-talkie, he's one of them people that's just like he's just mental how good he is. And I'm like, and you're 18 years old. I'm like, God, what are you going to be like when you're a fully grown man? What are you going to be like then? Because you're this good at 18. It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic, and yeah, absolutely rattling them as well. That bit with Kulusevski, where he caught up with him, dispossessed him, and laid it. I was like, oh God, what a footballer! Just what a footballer. Yeah, couldn't be happier for him. And another one who knows what this game means. You know, when he was coming off, and I was like, yeah, suck every minute of that up because you deserve that. And over here, Sophie, I don't know who called the game where you were, but
we had John Champion and Lee Dixon tonight.
Oh, okay. We had McCoist and Fletcher, and Rio Ferdinand was dipping in and out. And McCoist is insufferable. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people think he's fun and everything. The guy's a wanker. He does my head in. He does my head in, McCoist. He does my. And people will go, "Oh, that's your Celtic talk." He's insufferable, McCoist. He really is. I'm like, just for 5 minutes, just calm it. You know, not everything's got to be a. He's like screams at every single, even when it's like nonsensical play. He's like trying to make a thing. It's like just wind it down.
He reminds me of Ray Hudson here. People love Ray. Some people love Ray Hudson.
Okay.
I don't. He's like, oh, it's magisterial from Messi. I mean, he's like, it's all a bit too much. But
Ferdinand was like, look, people go on about the Newcastle young fullbacks. They're talking about other fullbacks. And he said, this kid's 18 years old. He's like, I think he could be better than all of them.
Yeah.
He's like, and to be fair, I know people hate Rio, but I'm like, look, if he's saying someone's a good defender, you got to respect it. Because as much as I hated Rio Ferdinand, he was the pinnacle for a while.
He's a baller.
Whether you want to admit it or not, he was the pinnacle.
Yeah. And Danny says here, this is so important for people to realize. It's not even his natural position. This is the insane thing. And you're right, like Declan Rice said in the interview, he's a midfielder who's being asked to do a job. You know, when footballers adapt that way and when footballers are able to change their position but then play the way they do, this is what I used to say about Wayne Rooney. That guy could play in any position on the pitch. Don't care what anyone says. He even played in goal. There are certain players that are just able to adapt to the game. And when you have a gem like him, and I know some Arsenal fans may not want to hear this, and I know that midfield is his natural position, James, but when I see him playing at left back, you know who I'm thinking of? Thinking of Ashley Cole. He's got the bravado. He's got the confidence. He's got to have the instinct to play positionally the way he does, James, to be in the right moment at the right time. And think about this. Think about the players from Kivior to Zinchenko and Calafiori. If you're asking me today, hold the Mayo, Arsenal fans. If we're starting a Champions League knockout game, a quarterfinal, semi-final, or a final, and you're asking me who to play at left back, I'm starting Miles Lewis-Skelly. Am I mad, James?
It's not even a question. For me, it's not even a question. And I can't see how it's a debate. He walks in. He walks in until he touch wood, he doesn't get injured, or until he drops an absolute bollock, which he won't do, because since he did drop a bollock, like I've mentioned on here before, since he did drop a bollock earlier in the season, he's not done it again.
Yeah, against Liverpool, right?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Game, yeah.
He's not been caught out since. Now I'll probably curse him, and it might happen to him soon, but I'm like, he learns. And also, Sophie, we've had players before that were midfield, biggest example I can use, Maitland-Niles, yeah? Maitland-Niles was a centre midfielder that ended up playing at right wing back, left wing back, whatever you want it. He rotated between the two. He could have stayed as Arsenal's right back if he was committed to it. We probably never would have even got a Ben White or whatever, because that's how much Arteta trusted him and loved him. But nope, I'm a midfielder. I want to play midfield. I'm a midfielder. This kid doesn't moan. This kid doesn't moan. He goes, no, I'm first team for Arsenal at 18 years old. Thank you very much. I'll have some of that. That's what I love about him. It's for me always. It's the attitude and the application, and he's got both in abundance.
Correct.
And as much as I love Timber as well on the other side, but this guy's this guy's the left side of Timber. Because he'll have it as well. 18 years old. He's one of the ones that if it turns into a scrap, he's at the front. He's backing it. He's like, yeah, if we're throwing hands, I'll throw hands as well then.
Yeah.
Which I love, because you're thinking that that's what the senior player, and he's right there, right at the front of it. Like, yeah, come on then. And I know people said about, England have finally found it. No, I wish Tuchel left before Lewis-Skelly had that. But I hope he was going for a piss or something, because I don't want it. I like Ben White. I don't want him playing for England.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Arsenal first, club over country.
By all means, for his parents and for himself, I do hope you get the accolade. You deserve everything. But if I had a preference, I hope they don't pick you ever.
Yeah.
So I'm Arsenal over my country anyway. I always have been.
Yeah, I have a feeling he'll make that England squad, no doubt. Yeah. And Branthouse,
last time I checked, the world was round, so I'm not very.
Oh, it's not flat.
I'm not the most patriotic guy going.
It's the attitude, exactly. And I know some of you saying, "Soph, don't get too excited." I'm going to get excited. You're not going to take the stripes off the tiger. I'm excited about Mars Lewis-Skelly. I like what I see. There's an X factor, and you know what? I saw it on the US tour. I was talking about it with some of the boys. I was like, Waneri, Lewis-Skelly, even Heaven, right? There were the way they handled themselves too, when they were close to the media, just walking out into the mixed zone, coming to their families after the games. This Hale End class has something different. And I've seen the other Hale End classes. And look, I'm going to get excited because this season hasn't provided too many excitable moments. And for me, he's definitely a player to get excited about. And I tell you, when Arteta's a stubborn man, all right, we all know this, and he plays him. Plays him now. We've been screaming at Mikel to play Waneri when Odegaard was injured, James. We used to scream about other Highlanders. And I'm not saying Mikel's always right, because he's not. But the fact that I even think if Calafiori was fit, and I do believe he'll rest and manage Miles's minutes the way he should, but he's all in on this kid. Do you agree? Yeah. And again, it's like we said, it's the attitude and the application, because he is not whinging that he's not playing. He's not banging on Mikel's door going, "I'm a midfielder. Why aren't you playing in midfield?" Yeah. He is just grateful for the opportunity to be playing first team football in the Premier League, in the Champions League for Arsenal, and that's again, when Saka, when we were down and Saka come in. And look at the player that he is now. I can see Lewis-Skelly being that guy at left back. Totally. And a lot of people think I hate Calafiori. I don't hate him. I just do not think he's as good a defender as what was made out. I agree with that. And again, he's had a lot of big injuries throughout his career, and he's coming into the Prem, so he's probably going to take some adjustment time. But at the moment, sorry. You got to fight for that shirt, mate. Yeah, I totally agree. And that's where you'll find out about a player. Because if he hasn't got the minerals to fight for his shirt, no matter how good looking he is and how many shirts that women go out and buy of his, if he can't hack it, he's got to, see you later, because Skelly's there. So totally agree. Yeah, and that's what I want. I want two. David Dean always used to say, if you're buying or selling, you're buying better or you're buying to replace. I want two good, in every position, you want two good players. So if one comes out, you don't really notice a difference. That's the key.
That's the level. We all talk about how Arsenal need to get to the level. That's what we need now. So when Calafiori does come back, I know that he can't play like Lewis-Skelly because I know they're very different players. But I'm like, you've got to be at that level of performance that he's putting in. Otherwise, mate, you're holding bench.
Totally agree. And Mark makes a really good point. Look at the team that Ashley came into and the players that Ashley was playing with. There's no doubt about that. And Nick Paris is leaving the stadium right now and he's singing and excitedly about Miles. And George from Down Under, how can you not be excited about MLS? You know, I feel like with people, the world, sports mirrors society. There's a lot of cynicism in the world today. And like you said at the top of the show, you know, if you get excited or if you're excitable, it's like crass or cringy or whatever. No, like there haven't been many moments and wins to celebrate this season. And when a performance like this comes out, I just wanted a result. I wasn't expecting a great performance. But when you get the result and the performance and you see a boy from Islington shine bright like a diamond against the enemy. I love it. And then he delivers the shithousery in the dark arts and the fearlessness and standing up to players. It is a beautiful thing. Right. So saying that, what about the gaffer tonight, James Johnson? What do you say about Mr. Mikel Arteta? You know, yeah. I wasn't angry at the starting 11, and I thought he managed the game really well, as opposed to maybe a couple of hiccups against United and Newcastle. We are 4 points behind Liverpool now. They have a game in hand. Listen, people, anything can happen in football. You win this, you put pressure on them. Their adversity hasn't come. It's not over. James, what do you think about what the gaffer did tonight?
Yeah, I can't dig him out too much. I mean, towards the end, I don't know if that's. I've said to you, Sophie, on and off camera, this guy is absolutely sublime at talking up, at sending messages to where he needs to send messages. He's very, very good. He's got all these ducks in a row in terms of, you know, how he can get things to manipulate certain situations. And I think that hodgepodge team towards the end, where I'm like, is Kieran Tierney playing as a left winger now? Is Zinchenko playing as a left winger? You know, oh my God, Thomas Partey's legs are shot, but he's going to play the whole game. It just was a bit crazy. But, you know, Josh obviously flew in. What was it? Tuesday morning, I believe. Yeah. He flew in. And I'm like, the minute he flies in, all of a sudden there's a Zubamendi story. Today, there's, Mbuemo or Evan Ferguson or Gyökeres. We're definitely, Arsenal are they're moving their attacking signing from the summer forward to now. So I'm like, he's only been back here 24 hours, and all the story. I mean, unfortunately, you didn't have Ornstein yesterday, but
no, he had to do his NBC show.
Exactly, but
yeah,
if he's here tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah,
I haven't ruined anything. I haven't announced Ornstein before.
No. We're literally he's living in real time. So he's saying to me, if you're up in the night, you know, like. I'll let you know the time. So we're trying to figure out the time for tomorrow. But yeah, Ornstein is being rescheduled as we speak, and tomorrow is the day that we're supposed to be talking.
Yeah. Well, and again, I agree with what TGR 2109's put their actions over. I'm with you. I am 100% with you. But what I like, Sophie, and it might be where I'm getting it, where I'm a bit silly, I'm a bit of an optimist. We used to all this window. All we've got are positions, but no names. Now I'm seeing names. I'm like, okie dokie. And also, yesterday when it said that every single Premier League club has no PSR sanctions, people all of a sudden, it's talking, it's hot, and, you know, it's getting a bit spicy. So I think we're going to sign somebody. It might not be who everybody wants, but I've only got one rule, and that's don't be rash and don't be Rashford. That's the only rule I have. For me, I don't want that guy at Arsenal. I don't see how he can raise our level. And we need
that might get ugly. That might get ugly.
Yeah. I know. There's been a few people that want Rashford. I look at it from my point of view of Man United in the summer tried harder to keep somebody who, let's be fair, the personal stuff that happened in that person's life, they were more worried about losing him than they were about losing Rashford. So that to me speaks volumes. Man United wanted to keep Greenwood at the club more than they wanted to keep Rashford at the club, because now you look at it, they are actively, they're trying to give him away on cereal boxes at the moment, Rashford. So I'm like, if he's not the guy at Man United, he can't be the guy at Arsenal.
Yeah,
that's just how I see it.
That's a great point. You're talking about a homegrown player, not just on the books, but we're talking from their academy. And the other thing too, James, that's really glaring about him is how many managers have actually had a problem with him, and how much of it was hidden. And now in the Ten Hag and Amorim era, we've heard about it a lot more. And actually, Adam Matic, who's a Manchester United broadcaster, YouTuber, who I really respect, who's been on the show, we've talked a lot about. I was surprised really about some of the things that have gone on behind the scenes that they've kind of hidden, in terms of, you don't think of Rashford as a guy that likes to go out and break rules or be late to training, but I think he started to believe his hype. That big contract was given to him, and some
That's
players
as well. We ain't paying £340,000.
No, but we learned the Aubameyang.
We're not even paying
right?
an Isak that. And look how good Isak's arguably the best striker in the league at the moment.
Yeah.
But if he was to join Arsenal, we wouldn't pay him 340 grand a week. So yeah, there's no way. There's no way for me. Unless Rashford's going to take a complete tank. Yeah, and like you said, Arteta ain't having none of that.
No.
He's got a group there that are receptive and hang on nearly every word that he says.
There you go. You took the words right out of. Yeah. Oops! Anyone for tennis? My tennis racket came off. When you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly and Saka, and you've got well-behaved players, Arteta likes to run a tight ship. Signings or coming through the system, personality, character has everything to do with that. I was talking to someone at the club actually in the summer, and kind of the non-negotiables that he talked about, it goes way beyond having talent to play football. And so, yeah. All right. Who is James? It's Australian Open time. So I think the tennis racket fell off the wall for a reason. It's an old school wooden one. It's a Bjorn Borg old school classic here, James. Who for you is the player of the match?
I'm going to give it to Gabriel, but Lewis-Skelly was a very, very close second. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Gabi. I know TNT over here that carried the game, they gave it to Gabi as well. But yeah, it's got to be Gabi. But Lewis-Skelly was very, very. He's a Rizzler paper away, as they say in the pub.
Maybe next season we'll come out with James' book of sayings. All right, so James has gone for Big Gabi. He scores a goal, and in a time where we lost Jesus, I felt like he's just so special. This guy, I can't begin. He's got to be man of the match. He scored the goal. He was colossal. He probably had the most important tackle in the entire match. And as much as I'd love to give it to Lewis-Skelly, he'll come into his own. But Big Gabi right now is the big dog, the big gunner at the Arsenal, and he deserves his flowers. Absolutely agree with you. Man of the match. And your mark for the gaffer. Odegaard did play well, Yurki. It was his best game in a long, long time. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I agree. There was a good spell of 10 to 15 minutes in that second half where I used to say it on this show with you many years ago. I used to call it Odegaard at the Palladium, where he's just taking a piss,
Yeah.
isn't he? He's
Yeah.
like his main stage. I'm just going to tick this game over. You can't get the ball off me. You can't get the ball off any of us. So yeah, there was a good 10 to 15 minutes there where it was just, he was just taking the piss. And
Love
again,
it.
that's a guy that's got to raise his level.
Yeah, totally.
I don't believe that he believes in himself enough, Sophie. I know we've had this combo. I'm like, you really, is it Cuesta, the guy that was on the Amazon doc that sits with them all and like bigs them up in the, he really, I'm like, yeah, get in there, get in there and tell him how good of a footballer he is.
Yeah, he's
I'm
so
like,
humble.
But yeah, there's times again tonight where I'm like, 2 seasons ago, you're smashing that.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you not believing in yourself anymore?
And the chance he had to score as well, right, in the second half, he missed that. Cliff, what biscuits is Cliff having? His kettle's boiled. He's having his cup of tea. Igal in the house. Good to see you, Igal. Always standing up for your team. And thank you for joining. Big win. It's huge. This is our biggest win of the season so far. This was, and you know what? Fair or foul, people, but for me, this was Mikel Arteta's bigger than in 22-23 when we were fighting for the league, bigger than the 3-0 loss when Rob Holding came in, bigger than last season's North London derbies, the Richarlison-Ramsdale fight. This, for me, was Mikel Arteta's most important North London derby, and we won. And that's all that matters, is that we won. And Cliff is having digestives.
So marks wise, because I agree with everything you've said, but I fear that the chat is going to go absolutely nuclear if we say Big Tens. Because I don't feel it was a performance really that's Big Tens. But
for who are you giving a 10 to?
You said Mikel marks, didn't you?
Yeah, so you're giving Mikel a 10?
I feel like is 10 a bit
I'm giving
over the top?
I'm giving him I'm going to give him, just so I don't give a shit what they say. This is Mikel's biggest result of the season.
Yeah.
He managed the game brilliantly. He picked Trossard over Martinelli, and Trossard has been, I don't want to say rancid. That's a harsh word, and I'm trying to do better myself. But Trossard is not the clinical finisher.
He's been questionable.
He's been questionable this season. But he made a move and he played him. He played Sterling on the right. Okay, maybe not too much of a choice there. Of course, he could have played Martinelli there, played Trossard on the left, but he gave Sterling a shot. I don't care what anyone says. Sterling did a decent job in order to manage the game against a poor Spurs team. If that's a Liverpool or a Chelsea or a Manchester City, I don't think Sterling's starting that match. But Arteta is measuring the minutes and looking ahead. We played a lot of games in January. We've got a Champions League coming up. We've got Aston Villa coming up. We've got some really big games coming up. And Sterling just had to go in and do a job. I didn't want him to be like Super Sterling from Liverpool and Manchester City days. Just do your job. All right? And then there are other players that can step up a level and do a little better than their job. And so for me today, Mikel, 10 out of 10. You beat the Spuds in what your most important North London derby. So, James, I'll back you on the 10.
Yeah, let's give it Big Tens. Come on then. He's getting a 10.
Gets an 8 here. Masked Gunners, kettles boiled too. God, everyone's having tea and biscuits. No one's having a late night tipple. No beer. No brandy for the night. Let's see. Did he? Porro. Oh my God, that was so embarrassing. He broke his ankles. A 9. Let's see. Dad and me had our coffee 3 hours ago, 6 a.m. Turkish Delights. Wow. I don't like Turkish Delights. I never have done. If we lost this, it would have been curtains for Arteta. Curtains with the fans. Big love to our LA friends. Ian gives him a 9. Greetings from Serbia. Love that. Absolutely love that. Okay. James, what else do you have to say before we go?
Just keep believing, because it's all you can do. I know it's hard. Me personally, I weren't over the moon at the thought that, we've got out of 2 trophies already in January. But the big ones are still up for grabs. So you can't really write them off until they're absolutely impossible. So just keep believing, keep the faith, and hopefully tomorrow, Mr. Ornstein might have something special. You never know. You could get a world exclusive.
Just waiting for the text
you
to
don't
confirm
know.
the time.
You just don't know.
The fact that I'm just texting back and forth with David Ornstein is enough for me. I wish I could just make that the show. Just put the text up. He's a really lovely guy.
He could be withholding, going, look, I'll just drop it on the Highbury Squad. I won't put it on Twitter. I won't put it on Twitter. I won't put it in my article. I'll wait and do it on here.
Well, look out on the community page on X for the announcement of the time of that show, you guys. And as soon as it gets settled, I'll let you know. Tammy Steels, our chief like officer, is thinking about a second bottle of Prosecco. You know, I used to drink champagne, not like all the time, and now I can't. Too much sugar for me. 10 a.m. says Archangel in Australia. It's always 1 o'clock somewhere. But yeah, you're right. And it's only Thursday. So yeah, night from Cape Town. I love it. We've got Australia in the house. We've got South Africa in the house. We've got Slovakia in the house. We've got Serbia in the house. We've got England in the house. Marcus, good to see you back. I love how he calls me the Queen of Arsenal chat. Tennis racket looks like the ones our granddad. Yes, it is.
That is a good question, Sophie. Who do you want
to sign?
Yeah, and like realistically, who would you say? That's my banker, James. That's the, you know.
In this window.
Yeah.
I mean, you could pay the clause. Or is it Sesko who has the clause, the release clause? Not Gyökeres, right? I think it's Sesko.
I think both of them do.
Right. One of them.
Yeah.
I'll roll the dice.
Sesko was interesting because Leipzig were looking at this AC Milan forward, but then they didn't sign him in the end. But I was like, why are they looking at a forward when they've got Sesko, Openda, and I can't remember the name of the third guy that they've got as well. Is it the Portuguese Silva? Is it the Portuguese
Silva?
guy?
Yeah.
So I was like, why are they looking at buying a striker if they've got them three? That made me think, is something in the waters here?
Yeah, I think something's brewing. Josh is in town. They better not be dicking around with us. We do need to sign someone. I've definitely felt, and I think he might be staying now. I've told you about Gabriel Peck, LA Galaxy, who to me is like a Duran signing for Aston Villa. Absolutely brilliant, young Brazilian, good cover for Saka, fearless, great on the ball, dribbles the ball, like old school creativity that we're missing from the Premier League. You know, someone like him, those Nico Williams, those flank players that a lot of fans are talking about and want. No, I wish we'd go in for Marmoush, especially if that number looks at that 60 million mark. But somehow only Manchester City can make deals like that. But I'm a huge fan of the Eintracht Frankfurt player, and every reason why they're doing decent in Bundesliga this year is because of him. And I'm a huge fan of him. I also like Ratatouille. Tom always loves when I just screw up the names. No, but the Atalanta striker, Retegui or Retegu.
I call him
Retegi, yeah. I call him Ratatouille. I think that he's got something. I really like him. I really, really do.
See, there's a big part of me that's Mikel Arteta loves players within the league.
Yeah, and you know what? There's something to be said about that.
I'm still I know we had this discussion the other day when I was on as well. So I'm still a big Mbuemo guy, Soph.
I
love Mbuemo. I love Mbuemo.
Liverpool hot on him though, mate.
I just think this guy, he's got it. He can come in here and do a job.
And he's
a good age.
League ready, right?
18 months. I'm like, you're going to have to overpay because you're buying him in January. But, you know, I was saying to people, funny enough, good friend Albert, I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, you know, when we got Wiltord, he weren't world class, but he got us, you know, Reyes, when we got him in the Invincible, he weren't a world class player, but he helped get us over the line. Trossard 2 seasons ago, we wanted Mudryk, we pivoted. Would you say Trossard's world class? Not really. but he nearly got us over the line. He was brilliant when he first come in. All those
Yeah.
assists, that game against Fulham when he got a hat trick of assists in one half or something. I'm like, you just need someone that, not just us as fans, but those players, it gives them play. Someone that squeezes an extra 10 or 20% out of those players as well.
Yeah.
That's what
Trossard
we need.
was that's a great point about, and Trossard, of course, came with the Premier League experience. And, I like players like Mitoma, and there's players in the league I like. And you mentioned the Brentford players, and I think there's a lot of mileage. I also think, too, is when you're talking about players to give you that extra edge and go the extra mile to win the league or win the Champions League. I think those players, and I'm not saying they're bad players, they elevate and create competition, but are they going to take you to the promised land? Trossard has been a neat, good, tidy player, created competition for Martinelli. Then we saw the best of Martinelli in that competitiveness, last season before the injury too. Marino hasn't really ignited a fire under anyone's arse in midfield. Calafiori by default has been playing because of other injuries. Timber, I think, is an elevated signing. Timber takes you to the promised land. He stays fit.
I keep having arguments about Moreno with people because they're like, oh, you're being so harsh on. And I said, I'm just presenting you with a fact. Like, they're bringing up all these dueling stats and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, but he's the 43rd most creative midfielder in the league.
That's damning.
I'm like 30. What was it? 35 or something million pounds we played for him.
42 apparently. I found out yesterday was the total package.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry, for that amount of money playing for Arsenal, you got to be way more creative and better on the ball. I know he's arriving in the box and getting those headers and everything else like that, but I'm like, on the ball passing, I'm like, I got to see a lift from you, because at the moment I ain't seeing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. Okay, so I've gone too far down, but I wanted to put up Orny. I know, he's so special. Zesco is crap. Really? Don't agree with that. 17 games to go. We're going to win the league. I'm telling you right now. It's not a Dunlop. It's not a Slazenger. It's a Wilson, everybody. Nico Williams is having the worst season ever. And maybe he looked good because he was, around very talented players for the Spain team. I'm not saying that out loud, but maybe it's something that I do think. Okay, so we've got listeners in here from Edinburgh, Chicago, one of my favorite cities in the world. Oh, I love going to the Pendry and having a cocktail at the bar in Chicago. Scotland, Bristol. Let's see. We had others, and I've lost them now because I've gone too far, because I wanted to get some of your transfer stuff. We've got Nigeria in the house. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we've been on air for over an hour, and rightly so. We beat the Spursy in the North London derby. I've missed the Jason Cundy intro on TalkSport, which is always a joy. So I'll just go back and listen to that. Kingston, Jamaica in the house. I love how you come from all corners of the earth to talk about the Arsenal. And tonight is a good night. Enjoy tonight because there could be more bumps in the road coming. But for tonight, we close the gap on Liverpool. Yes, they have a game in hand. And yes, there are a few points in front of us. But there's still a lot of football to be played, and anything can happen. This team now needs to use this game, James and everyone, to build on, to believe in, to get the bravado back that we've seen in 2022, 23, 24. Build that intimidation factor back. Start believing in each other and give the fans something to be joyous about, because tonight you delivered a result that we all wanted. James, you've got the closing remark for the Squaddies. Hit them with it. 30 seconds.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed what we put together. And stick around, because there's going to be plenty more coming from Sophie's end.
Okay,
podcast-wise. That sounded a bit wrong, actually. As I finished saying that, I was like, that's a bit weird. That's a bit sus.
That's
Sorry.
okay. It was introduced weirdly on Talksport last night, so I'm used
Oh,
to it
goodness.
now. Grenada in the house as well.
Sophie,
A brilliant hour.
Can we just
Yeah.
mention your great text earlier, by the way, with Gabriel?
Oh, yeah, sure, fine.
Yeah. So Sophie sent me a text earlier saying, I would have Gabriel's children even though I'm lesbian. And I thought that was great. Yeah, really, it did make me laugh. I thought it was a great message, Sophie.
I'm just going to hide behind the racket.
Yeah. I mean, the Arsenal players don't seem like they need help getting people pregnant at the moment. But if there is a surrogacy going from the Gabriels, you have volunteered. So yeah, it's good.
It's true. I wrote that and I said it out loud. Yeah, I'm going back to the loo. It's true.
Oh,
yeah.
Newman. Way to low the bar.
Oh, I did not put any. I haven't even seen it. Is that something I need to avoid?
No.
Oh,
He's just
okay.
He's just being a cheeky chappy as per.
Trinidad and Tobago, Toronto. Thank you, Georgie. Thanks to all of our listeners from all corners of the earth. Yeah, I saw Newman's comment. I'm just not going to put it on,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Listen, kids, watch out for the alert about the David Ornstein show. We're trying to set it up. As you can imagine, the fella's a little bit busy breaking world news for fans, millions of fans around the world. So keep your eyes and ears out. James, tell the kids where they can find you and what you've got coming up next.
Yes, just where you've put there at LL Cool James 91, and then all my links are there. Audio and my YouTube channel. Again, like I said before, if you liked what I said on here and you want to carry on listening, thank you very much. It's all there. Go check it out. But if you don't, apologies. I'm sorry. You know, tune in again because there'll probably be someone you do like.
They absolutely love you, Barry. We're waiting for a time confirmation, so hang in there. It's not lucid. What's the word I'm looking for? It's fluid. Haven't even had a drink yet.
You could, like I said, you can do the text. You could be like, breaking news: David Ornstein is arriving. You know.
Yeah. So
photoshopping with a little shirt up. You know.
As soon as I know, you guys will know the time as well. In fact, when I get off air, I'm going to text him. That's right. I'm going to text David Ornstein. We won. We beat Tottenham 2-1. Love you guys a lot. It's like vodka shots. About to go have one and treat myself. And Vinny and Vespa are off for their pedicure. It's been a good day for the Gunners. Enjoy. And don't forget, as always, the rule here. Don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them. At ease, Squaddies, at ease. Bye.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Get down. LL Fluid. Yeah, respect James. We love him. See you, Squaddies.